There are these little buggers. One has to be careful not to step on those. Just again a feeling of making a video like this, a boring video about non-duality, so-called non-duality, or reality and illusions and silence. There was a thought about silence. Like there is such a thing as somehow like felt silence, but saying it like this, not that there is a sayer, but saying it like this does not imply a separate knower or feeler of the silence. And when people talk about the silence, what does it, like some people talk about the silence, some people mean some kind of a state that comes and goes maybe in time. But what it actually seems to be is the absence of the inner turmoil and the inner white noise. There is also in an energetic, or at least in a felt sense, there is like a white noise, kind of it hardens the feeling of life, but that can be absent. That noise can be absent. And that's what the silence refers to. And it's not, I don't know if it's a feeling of silence actually. It's more like a feeling of life in general. Life is felt suddenly. Like right now. There's like a depth, like a deepness to this. And it's translated in, of course it's not translated in anything or in any way, but it is somehow just felt. Life energy, it's not even life energy actually. There's no, I don't know if there are any proper words to describe this, but there is silence, and the silence is the absence of the psychological noise. It's not the absence of like sound of water, so-called sound of water running. It's not the absence of the, like, the body doesn't become deaf on hearing. But also peace and peacefulness seems to be kind of a non-reactivity. No rigid sense of being dragged by reactions of the environment. Like there could have been a reaction to these two dudes running by because they were making too much noise. That would be an example of the personal reactivity. So that is also absent. There's like a relaxation and peacefulness. And it's somehow like two different aspects of the same thing. Which is not a thing. It's the absence of and it also doesn't mean that talking would end, and like I said, hearing doesn't end, but there is this goodness also. I know this probably doesn't help anybody, but there's just a feeling of wanting to express. Life is flowing like this, expressing us, apparently making this video by this dude who is talking apparently right now. And part of the silence is the absence, or at least like diminishment for a large part of the personal memory and personal sense of history, which also partially, in a large part, creates the sense of the present circumstances and creates the sense of what is outside of what is directly apprehended by the body's senses, or the body senses, not body's senses. Body is made of senses in a way. Body isn't an owner of senses. Like the organs, the sense organs are the body, part of the body also. So we have a cafeteria here. And somehow it's so, I don't know, this grey evening is super nice. It hasn't, also like there's nothing controlling, nothing is saying that there shouldn't be appreciation of certain circumstances like weather and evening and stuff like that. These still appear, apparently. So it's kind of nice, very nice to have this kind of weather. And it's no problem that it's turning to night soon, well, in maybe 4 or 5 hours. It's early in the evening now. And also what I've noticed is, and I've heard also, I don't have my camera, I bought a new camera. I could have maybe gotten a nice image of this, but I bought a Sigma DP2S, which is an old camera already, like 16 years old or something, digital pocket camera. It doesn't have an interchangeable lens, but it has the kind of a sensor that produces like good quality, very good quality images. And the sensor is very unusual, so it's kind of a rarity that I found for a very good price. Maybe I'll show some images in some other video at some point. One can get photos that look like they've come from Leica and maybe the Summicron lens, the bokeh lens. Although I actually like the bokeh more in the pocket camera that I bought, because it's less harsh and it's somehow more painterly, but it's more difficult to get the bokeh effect than with the full frame or medium format camera like Hasselblad, for example. I deliberately try not to film people because I wouldn't want to be filmed. So I turn the camera away every time somebody drives by. Although I have taken images of people with the camera though, like street photos and stuff. Okay, this wasn't meant to be about the camera. So, and there seems to be different levels of relaxation in a psychological and energetic sense. And it can be like kind of, it can be, or I don't know how to say it. Everything can seem to be very like spacious and space-like, but then there's in a sloppy language, expressed in a sloppy language, there's the deeper depth where life really starts to be felt. The deep wellness or something, deep aliveness or something like that starts to be felt. This is a fun restaurant here, by the way. I've only been there like once or twice, maybe twice. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but in the summer, it's turning into summer, by the way. This is already spring. It's getting green, but anyway, in the summer that's super nice from within. Maybe I'll get a better camera. The pocket camera that I bought, it doesn't shoot any film. So either I'll have to get some image stabilization program for this shitty phone that I'm using. Oh, I just an image of a vlogger, a travel vlogger came to mind as I turned the camera there. The Gabriel traveler who travels around the world. I think I'll have to cut this if I cross this bridge because of the noise, but I'll just probably I'll have to figure out how to attach two different video clips together. So I'll probably start to film more when I get to the other side. There's a burb. I don't know if it's visible on the film, in the on the screen. This guy here. I tried to record a video already. I'm at the other side of the bridge, and I stepped on a crunchy snail, and I couldn't keep talking after that. So let's do it again. That was a total accident. I don't usually step on those things, but they're not everywhere here, but they were at that one part of the path. There was also a little kid here. I cannot record because he's so far away, but there was a pier over there, or there is a pier, and he was fishing by himself, like, I don't know, 7 years old, something like that. He had a funny black jazz hat, and he was just fishing. Would have been a good photo, by the way, but I didn't have the camera with me, and I would have had to go closer to him to get a good photo. And there would be good photos here too, just capturing a mood and some light here. Not with this camera, but it looks so amazing, so clear. So I forgot to mention about emotions. Oh, look at this. We got deer here too. Local wildlife. 2 deer. Just, I don't know, hanging out. Maybe I'll hang out here too for a while. Let's see if they come closer. I don't know. I have nothing to offer them, and they need nothing from humans as such at this time of the year anyway, so I don't think they will come any closer. They're the size of the height of the biggest dogs, you know. Not visible on the film. I think it's they're used to people. What is that tongue flick thing that they do? so they don't run away, but also as I'm speaking here, I'm kind of announcing my presence here and making it clear that I'm at this distance. They can hear it from the voice, I suppose, I assume. So that's why they can stay a little bit more relaxed and chill. Oh, the other one looks, maybe he's old and sick. He's lost some hair under the armpits over there. He looks kind of old as well, like a little bit gray. Anyway, I also saw a woodpecker here just prior to filming. And I rarely, if ever, have seen any deer in this forest. There's the other forest that has deer a lot. But I haven't seen in this forest those. So anyway, about emotions. When the self-illusion, let's go here, along this muddy path. I hope I don't step on any more snails. I really hate it. I mean, I hate to step on them. It hasn't happened often. This might have been the first time today. So yeah, emotions seem to vanish. There is not that, like, and emotions always, they were like, there was always an opposite emotion to certain other emotions. There were the light emotions and then the dark, and they flavored life in particular different ways. I love this light. It's so clear, and like this is a camera term, the white balance is like, it's just totally neutral. It's not yellow at all or brown or anything. Yeah, so yeah, emotions vanish, but there's joy and ease and peace, not all the time. This depends on the residual psychological stuff that still kind of like bubbles up. I guess bubbling up is a good term because it's actually nothing. The person is nothing anyway, so but the emotions have been like dualistic in the sense that they always had the opposite emotions too. So good emotions had the opposite of like unpleasant, certain kinds of dark emotions, or otherwise painful, that were perceived as painful. And there was a certain kinds of feelings, or there were some certain kinds of feelings to life due to those emotions, or certain kind of a flavoring, like a variety of different flavors, so-called positive and so-called negative. And those just end along with the person illusion, if that happens to appear, that the person illusion vanishes. It gets a fatal hit, and then in apparent time it starts to wear down, but then the ease and peace starts to appear more and more. So every time people come here along this path, I'll turn the camera away because, like I said, I don't want to film them because I don't know if they want to be filmed. But yeah, the weather changes, meaning that situations in life change, bodily sensory feelings change, but those are not emotions. And it's all this one reality that is not actually one and not two, and no assertive term or assertive expression applies to whatever this is, just this. I'm wondering if I should go to the, but there are still like, there are no emotions anymore, it seems, but there are still felt somehow like feelings anyways, but the feeling is the feeling of the beloved, like some people say. And the beloved is always kind of, when it's felt for what it is, it's always peace, relaxation, but there's like the felt quality of life in some sense. These birds almost never flee from people. I usually get within 1 meter of these little guys. These are funny. These are songbirds. They have a beautiful voice, or a very interesting, varied voice actually. It's almost never, I don't know if they ever like sing the same stuff. Usually when you hear them, the songs are they sound very different compared to the previous songs that one has heard from these birds. So I guess I'll be going straight. I'm not gonna follow the jogging path, but there's a little like a swamp or a pond up on a hill over here. Oh yeah, and also like social awkwardness or social anxiety. I don't know, it might still appear, it might be hardwired in the brain, but for me, I was like super shy as a kid, for example, and also later as an adult, but that has largely vanished. There's no fear about looking like a mad person or some kind of an idiot in public places, like when making these videos. Although I'm not like shoving this camera into people's faces, but there's just not caring really, like it's not that real in the end, ultimately. None of this stuff is that real. It's kind of, I cannot say right now that it's dream-like, because it doesn't feel like a dream. Man, there's a mushroom that looks like a butthole. Will this video get censored by YouTube if I film this? Anyway, there. Isn't that a freaking find? So there are some mushrooms, even in the spring already. And man, I love nature. You kind of tend to forget, especially when the head gets locked, or the whole system, the whole body, psychological, there's the psychological mode. The noise that I was talking about, that kind of also can harden the makes it impossible to appreciate the surroundings, makes it impossible to appreciate nature, for example, the value and the beauty and the depth of nature. But again, when that is gone, that psychological energetic noise, or the shell, or whatever you call it, shell is kind of a nice word because it contains the word hell. So when hell is also gone, like psychologically, subjectively, it's not like the beauty of, like when sitting inside an apartment, the beauty of nature is obviously not felt, but when one gets, in everyday language, when one gets into nature, there seems to be like deep appreciation of this, and it has to do with the sense of, not a sense, but it has to do with the feeling of life. Life is felt, and it wasn't kind of felt before, but even before it was only life. This is only life, not life versus death, or death versus birth or something. It's death birth. It's life is death birth. Life is death, life, birth. Like one word. Birth, life, death. Birth, life, death. Birth, life, death. One word, in a way. Oh, look at this. Actually, it would be kind of nice to maybe make these videos for no one in particular, but in a way that I'm just stationary and the camera is just pointing somewhere and just talking, and there's no shaky footage. Not that the talking matters or not that these videos matter, but maybe somebody who doesn't have access to nature like this, maybe they can, well, maybe you can still enjoy and get the sense of this planet Earth, this so-called apparent amazing planet Earth. By the way, I'm sure many wouldn't believe this, but there have been extensive studies about mushrooms, and this is totally freaking mind-blowing. It sounds like a freaking fairy tale or something, but something has been found out. I've totally forgot already how this works, but mushrooms control weather. Mushrooms have the ability to control weather. So look up, for example, if you don't believe me and if interested, look up Anton Petrov. That's the name, Ukrainian guy who makes science videos on YouTube, and write into his channel's search field like mushrooms and weather, or mushrooms weather or something, and you'll find the video. I I might have to watch it again to really understand what he was talking about. I was watching the video as I was falling asleep, so I couldn't pay any attention, apparently. The deer have been here. Whoa, look at this rock. I've walked by this rock for about at least 5 times when I've been here, but I've never noticed this. What a strange looking. Oh, that's a tree stump. It's not part of the rock, but it looks like it's part of the rock. Okay, so the pond is near. It's not a pond anymore. It's been clogged, or whatever the term. Of course not clogged, but it's more like a swamp now. Nice area should be. if it hasn't been destroyed yet by building projects or something. So nothing is missing and there's no sense of. So it's possible to things apparently be like there's no need for something else, but actually there isn't something else. All the something else, all the future imagining is just imagining and protection. There's only now in that sense. I don't even know what that means though. Like what is now anyways? Even now is kind of, it's a pointer. It's a pointer to this that cannot be put into words. The word now points to this that is not even now. And it's not future. And it's not past. But there appear to be words about past, present, future, and concepts and understanding and memory. But all of those are illusionary or illusory. So this is the swamp. I think it was a pond at some point. I'm pretty sure. I've seen some bigger birds here though, in this area, like owls, big owls, for example. I don't know, should I go to the right or to the left? I'll go from the left. Just that kind of feeling. So, anything more about non-duality, so-called non-duality, or anything else? There is still a feeling of wanting to share, but for now nothing is coming to my mind. Not my mind, to mind. Look at this moss here. So a lot of people, they have no idea of relaxation. I don't mean like getting drunk or getting sleepy and lying in bed, for example. Not that kind of a relaxation. Relaxation with energy. Like open relaxation and peacefulness.